The world watched in horror. Smoke billowed from the towering symbols of American might. The Twin Towers, once invincible, crumbled under the weight of hatred and fanaticism. September 11, 2001, irrevocably altered the course of history, casting a long shadow that stretched across the globe. In the ashes of that tragic day, one name emerged as the embodiment of terror: Osama bin Laden. The attacks on New York City and Washington, D.C. were a declaration of war, not against a nation, but against a way of life. Bin Laden, the mastermind behind this act of barbarity, became the world's most wanted man, his face plastered on wanted posters in every corner of the globe. He was the architect of a new kind of conflict, one that disregarded borders and targeted innocent civilians. The world united in grief and outrage. A collective determination arose to hunt down the perpetrators and bring them to justice. The United States, wounded but resolute, vowed to dismantle the network of terror that bin Laden had so meticulously constructed. The hunt for the mastermind of 9/11 had begun, a relentless pursuit that would span a decade and redefine the global fight against terrorism. Born into a wealthy Saudi family, Osama bin Laden's path to infamy was an unlikely one. Radicalized during his university years, he traveled to Afghanistan in the 1980s to join the fight against Soviet occupation. There, amidst the rugged mountains and fervent idealism of the Afghan Mujahideen, bin Laden honed his skills as a warrior and a leader. Fueled by a potent mix of religious extremism and anti-Western sentiment, bin Laden formed Al-Qaeda, a network of like-minded militants dedicated to waging jihad against what they perceived as the enemies of Islam. What began as a small group of fighters in Afghanistan would morph into a global terrorist organization, with cells and sympathizers operating in the shadows across the world. Bin Laden's ideology, rooted in a distorted interpretation of Islamic teachings, called for violence against the United States and its allies. He viewed the West as decadent and morally corrupt, a threat to the purity of Islam. His message, disseminated through clandestine channels and online platforms, resonated with disaffected Muslims, providing a perverse justification for hatred and violence. In the wake of 9/11, the United States embarked on an unprecedented global manhunt for Osama bin Laden. The CIA, FBI, and other intelligence agencies worked tirelessly, following every lead, however tenuous. Cutting-edge technology, from satellite imagery to sophisticated surveillance techniques, was deployed in the relentless pursuit of the elusive terrorist leader. Special forces units trained to operate in the most hostile environments were dispatched to remote corners of the world. They conducted daring raids, interrogated suspects, and gathered intelligence, all in the hope of closing in on their target. The hunt for bin Laden became an obsession, a test of will and technological prowess. Despite their best efforts, bin Laden remained frustratingly elusive. He moved like a phantom, disappearing into the lawless tribal regions of Pakistan, a haven for militants and extremists. He communicated through trusted couriers, minimizing his digital footprint and making it nearly impossible to track his movements electronically. The rugged, mountainous terrain of Pakistan's tribal areas provided the perfect sanctuary for Osama bin Laden. This lawless region bordering Afghanistan was a hotbed of militant activity, where loyalties were fluid, and the writ of the Pakistani government held little sway. Bin Laden, protected by a network of local tribesmen and Al-Qaeda operatives, was able to evade capture for years. He lived a Spartan existence, moving between safe houses, always vigilant, always one step ahead of his pursuers. His isolation, while necessary for his survival, also deepened his fanaticism. Cut off from the outside world, he became increasingly fixated on his warped ideology, plotting new attacks against the West. The Pakistani government's complicity in shielding bin Laden remains a contentious issue to this day. While officially denying any knowledge of his whereabouts, elements within the Pakistani intelligence services were widely believed to have provided him with support and protection. The complex web of alliances and rivalries in the region made it difficult to determine who was friend and who was foe in the hunt for bin Laden.